fracking to continue because it was dangerous or something like that. Are you aware of that? And if you are, I'm sure you are, what is your input on that?
For the last 3.5 years, unfortunately, the Obama administration has waged a war on small businesses. We have seen policy after policy after policy that has killed thousands of jobs, whether it is Obamacare or Dodd-Frank, or the abusive enforcement of environmental laws, or the offshore drilling moratorium, or the prohibition on the XL pipeline. If, God forbid, President Obama is reelected to a second term, and I don't believe he will be, but if he is elected to a second term, in my judgment, he will be even more radical in a second term than he has been in the first term. In particular, the EPA under Barack Obama has launched, quote, investigations into fracking. And in my opinion, there is a substantial likelihood in a second term, if Barack Obama is reelected, they will mount a full frontal assault on fracking, trying to heavily regulate it or shut it down altogether. If that's the case, the Senate's going to be the battlefield. And I intend to help lead the fight against regulations that would kill hundreds of thousands of jobs across the state of Texas. If we foolishly prevented entrepreneurs from employing hydraulic fracturing and horizontal drilling, if we deliberately gave up the opportunity to access these extraordinary natural resources of oil and gas that we're able to access now, that would do enormous damage to our country, to our jobs, to our economy, and ultimately to our national security. It is in nobody's interest for the United States to continue to send hundreds of billions of dollars overseas for foreign oil, much of it to nations whose interests are very different from our own. We need to be energy independent and energy secure. And the Obama administration, unfortunately, has consistently worked to prevent that.
Okay, now changing topics again, securing our borders, what is your take on that?
Immigration, unfortunately, is an issue I think neither party is serious about solving. Both parties are demagoguing on the issue of immigration rather than rolling up their sleeves and fixing the problem. My views are simple. I think we need to do everything humanly possible to secure the borders, to stop illegal immigration, and at the same time, we need to remain a nation that doesn't just welcome, that celebrates legal immigrants who follow the rules and come here seeking the American dream. You know, over 50 years ago, my father fled Cuba. He had been imprisoned and tortured in Cuba, came to the United States in 1957, 18 years old, couldn't speak English, had $100 sewn into his underwear. And he washed dishes, making 50 cents an hour, to pay his way through the University of Texas and to start a small business in the oil and gas industry. That's the story of America. My dad's been my hero my whole life, but you know what I find most incredible about him? How commonplace that story is. Every one of us has a story just like that in our backgrounds, whether it's us or our parents or our great-grandparents. We are a nation. For centuries, our ancestors fled oppression and came here seeking freedom. And I think that's the most fundamental DNA of what it means to be an American, to value freedom and opportunity above all else. And that's also why I think so many millions of Americans are rising up against the Obama agenda, more and more government control and spending and debt. Because the more government controls the economy in our lives, the more freedom and opportunity go away. And that's why we're going to pull the nation back from the brink to ensure the American dream is vibrant, not just for us, but for our kids and our grandkids.
Good. Really quickly, healthcare. I think I've heard a rumor that Texas has I don't know if it was good or bad, but it has its own healthcare separated from the whole United States. Talk to me about healthcare. Where do you see it, and where would you like to see it?
One of the very first things the Senate and the House need to do in January of next year is repeal every single word of Obamacare. Obamacare was designed to move us inexorably towards government control of health care and socialized medicine. And if you look at every nation on earth that has ever implemented socialized medicine, the result is the same universally. It is low quality care, rationing, waiting lines, and government bureaucrats getting between us and our doctors. I think instead of Obamacare, we need to implement healthcare reforms that expand competition, that expand the marketplace, and that empower patients. Empower patients for us to make our own medical decisions in consultation with our doctors. In particular, I think three reforms are important. Number one, allow the interstate purchase of health insurance so that we can create a true 50-state national marketplace. What that will do is that will allow people to purchase low-cost, catastrophic health insurance. Right now, many people can't afford health insurance because there's so many government-mandated bells and whistles. There aren't low-cost policies available. If we had true 50-state national competition, it would dramatically expand the availability of low-cost, catastrophic health insurance. Number two, we should expand health savings accounts to enable people to save in a tax-advantaged way to take care of health needs. And number three, we need to work to de-link insurance from employment. Right now, if you or I lose our jobs, we don't lose our home insurance, our life insurance, our car insurance. There's no reason we should lose our health insurance. And we need to work to make health insurance policies personal, portable, so they go with you regardless of your job. And that goes a long way to solving much of the problems with pre-existing conditions.